healthcare ensemble of practitioners look like?
If you're the guy,
Yeah.
it's a lot better. When you're not the guy, you might want to sit down, shut up, and go back out there.
Got it.
Because if not, they're going to figure out a way to get you out of there.
Welcome to The Honest Dose, guys. Today we have a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Michael Griffin. Mike and I have known each other for a very long time. We met at probably one of the most unlikely places to meet, I guess, Circuit
Correct.
of Americas at CODA, as we call it here in Austin, an international racetrack. Usually I meet people at pharmacy conferences or I know them from school, and that's how we become friends. But we met at the most unlikely places and events and have been good friends since then. But Mike, thanks for coming on. I am very much looking forward to our conversation today. We've already been talking for
Yeah, we've been talking. And, you know, if you know us, we're on the golf course. We're arguing.
Yeah.
The whole time.
But football, you started playing at UT. Obviously, I didn't know that you, in the national championship, you had this iconic moment until I was doing some research. Doing some research. The toe tap.
Correct.
The toe tap interception, right?
Yeah.
I actually went and watched it a few times. I'm like, damn, that's a big play. That's like almost as big as Vince Young's run.
I mean, yeah, but, you know, Vince Young's run is to win the game. Yeah, I mean, it was just, I think that play was what took my trajectory, shot me up and gave me the opportunity to play at that next level. Just a play that people just remember.
When you're in college, right, and you're playing at that level, you're putting your body through a lot of work.
Correct.
Right? Like your football is a very aggressive bodily sport. So how did you, maintain your shape and condition? Mm-hmm. And what did you do to combat injuries? Like, what was that schedule?
So I would say my first injury was my sophomore year in high school. I broke my ankle.
You broke your ankle?
Broke my ankle in high school. First game against Round Rock. Crazy part, I remember everything. It was fourth quarter, a minute and 12 seconds left. It was 4th and 12. Coach said, "Hey, Griff, we're going to hang you the ball." Rest in peace, Bernard. Bernard passed away. But we don't even throw the ball. But he's like, "Hey, I'm going to run my guy off."
Because you're probably so fast.
Yeah, you're just so great. I love him to death. Rest in peace. He passed away of cancer a couple of years back. Really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
But his guy that he was supposed to run off did not run with him. Ended up horse collaring me and broke my ankle. And then there was a possibility I never get to play sports again, play football again, broke the growth plate and everything else. So came back the following year, had a good year, and ended up originally committing to A&M, but then ended up changing and going to Texas. But at Texas, I had injuries here and there, but I mean, the first one, I remember I dislocated my finger. That was like, didn't even think that was possible, but then I had a wrist injury in the national championship game. I didn't finish that game. I had a neck injury in that game. Broke Terrell Brown's forearm trying to hit Dwayne Jarrett. And I broke his forearm, hurt my neck. That's when my brother came in the game.
He played the same position?
Played the same position. But yeah, I mean, there's injuries, but like you said, staying in shape or whatever. I mean, we had a fantastic
strength and
condition with Mad Dog.
Mad Dog, yeah, legend.
Mad Dog, Bruce, Shep, all those guys. They just did a fantastic job. I tell the guys now in Texas, like, y'all just lucky, like running those, quote unquote, we got 21-10s, but if you don't make one or if you bend over and your knee, you bend down, put your hands on your knees, add another one. So sometimes we got up to like 25, 26. So I tell you one thing, you were never going to be in better condition than we were because just how hard we worked. But they did a fantastic job. And then at the time, it was almost like a punishment if you was hurt because they'd make you go up on the top of the hill with Doc Craven. And anybody knows Doc Craven, it was basically a punishment to be hurt.
So Doc Craven was the team doc?
He was like the team doc, but he used to make, if you were hurt, you had to go on top of the hill during practice and it was like they had all the stuff that should be indoors, like your treadmills, your the sand pit, the bike. It was just a brutal workout.
If you're hurt.
Yeah, it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like you didn't want to be hurt.
Yeah.
Because they will make
Make
you
it
ask yourself, did you want to be up on top of the hill with him, or did you want to come practice? So,
gotcha.
So I never really faced anything that was like, there was injuries, but it's all part of the game. And I played through a lot of those or whatever. I mean, there's some, if you go back and look at pictures, like versus Oklahoma State, I had a real bad wrist injury, whatever, and I literally, it's like a cast, but I'm still playing. Sprained my MCL versus Oklahoma State. But if you go back and watch, I played with a knee brace and I had a neck collar on.
Man.
And I literally, there was one game I wasn't supposed to play. I came in, got an interception, and went back out because I just didn't want to stop. But it was just playing through injury, whatever, just learning how to play through those and things. But again, we had a phenomenal strength.
And that's the culture they bring up too, is play through injury, be tough, be rough.
Definitely. I mean, I think that's the culture of just different. Like I would say, no, I really do believe in like, mental health and things and like that. But I just like, I say this because it's playing sports, you teach kids at a young age, like you're not supposed to feel pain. You're not supposed, it's all mental.
Yeah.
And so you've been taught that for so long that even when you were hurt, you might be hurt, but that's a part of you that you're not supposed to acknowledge.
It's a fascinating concept, right? Because it's a double-edged sword, because your body's hurt and it tells you it's hurt because you need to slow down and let it heal.
Correct.
But in this high-stakes environment of sports, you're doing the opposite. And with the culturally, if you could do that and perform, then you're like a superstar, right? Like that's.
Correct.
But what are the long-term ramifications? These are the parts that people don't hear about, right? They don't hear about like when you're playing, great, you toughed it, you got the collar on, you're playing, the team wins, right? Great, short term. Everybody gets what they want, but your body's on the line. But 5 years down the line, you had a great career even as a pro athlete.
Correct.
But not everybody has that privilege or is skilled enough to do that. So what happens to those guys who did all that and then the injury, they don't play pro, and what are the ramifications down the line?
That's the thing, because I joke and I always tell my kids and I tell everybody else, I'm like, I know eventually it's going to hit, like the injuries and things. Like for me, I played 10 years and I missed 2 games. One was from suspension on repeat offender of helmet to helmet, and one was the coach held me out because I tore my quad, and he was like, "You're going to have surgery?" I was like, no, because I always felt if you don't give that backup an opportunity, you won't lose your job. So mentally, it was just don't let anybody have an opportunity, because the way I got to play was I got the opportunity because of injury or because somebody wasn't performing well. So that was even as a true freshman, playing as a true freshman, I got to play because at the time, Dakari Pearson, who was probably, I tell people all the time, probably one of the best free safeties to play at Texas, but he hurt his shoulder. So when he hurt his shoulder, I learned nickel. By game 7, I was a starting nickel. But it was just because of opportunity. And then at the same time, you fast forward, got to the National Football League. And at the time, one of our safeties wasn't performing well. So I got the opportunity to play. And then the other starting safety, he got hurt. So now me and this other guy, we're both starting together because he had a neck injury and he was out for the remainder of the season. So because of opportunity, I got to play, but I always felt like
in the back of your head,
back of the mind, it's just like you can't let anybody get an opportunity to play, because a lot of times lose your job, and then you know how it is. It's cheap labor. Who's cheaper? If I'm paying you X amount of money and I pay him less, and he could do just what you could do or better. So my biggest thing was don't give anybody an opportunity.
Dude, it's the player's perspective on looking on that it's wild, right? Because it's like, if I get hurt and don't play, I might lose my job.
Correct. Yeah,
I can't afford to. And I have to tough through whatever it is, regardless of the long-term effects.
And that's where I think when you look at, in my opinion, the players that made it the longest, the ones that, had success, it's you really look at it, it was whether they were able to have a type of mentality of, each and every day, I'm going to give it my all, and I'm not going to allow anybody to have an opportunity to take that from me. And I think that's where you see, because again, I've seen guys, like I said this, and I have some other podcasts of guys had opportunities. Guys were better than me, But the problem was they allowed other things
Other
to
factors
be
to
more
influence.
important or influence their decisions and everything else, the emotional aspect of making emotional decisions, things of that nature. So I think a lot of times that's what ends up causing people not to have the type of careers that a lot of people have.
Yeah. And obviously, I think you said I think the stat is, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but 103 consecutive games, right? From 2007 to 2013.
It was I was pissed when they told me I couldn't play that one. I was pissed.
It's because you did a helmet to helmet?
No, the first time I didn't play was because I tore my quad.
Oh, okay.
It was crazy. I was tackling Frank Gore and I dropped to, like, what I used to do is if he got low, I would drop. Low
already.
But he got low and I dropped to a knee. And when I dropped to a knee and I like do this thing where I kind of like keep my toe in the ground. Well, my toe slipped and I literally exploded with just being on a knee.
Oh,
like a
hyperextended.
So I hyperextended and I ripped my quad.
Yeah.
And then we had the MRI and they were like, hey, and I was like, nah, so what I did was like tape it to like have that extra muscle. It was.
It's wild. It's just, so tell me more about that, right? Like I talk to all these guys and sometimes, we're in the golf cart talking and like they tell me stories. I'm like, yeah, I used to get a toradol shot every time before I went out on a game. Every game. Not even because they're hurt.
Toradol. Hey, I got to block it all out the next day. Toradol and 2 bags of IVs before every game.
Yeah, but most guys don't even know what's in the IV bag. They have no idea.
That's the funny part about it, because you don't know you just
no idea.
You're doing everything you can to stay on the field.
Yeah, you do not care.
But you don't, like I said, you take so I guess we talk about the thinking.
Yeah.
Take all the thinking out of it.
Yeah.
Just whatever it is to stay on the field.
What are some of the horror stories you've seen, like, in that respect, right? Because there's so much stuff. Like, it's like the Friday Night Lights, right? Like, that movie's known for, like, when they got that guy back in the tent, stuck him on toradol and he's back out there playing. Like, what are some of the things behind the scenes like that you remember or you recall or heard of even?
I mean, the toradol shot, it was like people really had serious injuries. And it was like, you go back and you look now, people now, you go back and you look and say, oh man, like you played through it or whatever and it worked out, but now you're
suffering,
watching move around and stuff. I think one of the biggest things now, to me, because I herniated a disc in my back, and it's probably like one of the worst things. People don't realize, like, once that back go, you out. Like, that back is everything. And the way those discs are and the way
the alignment, the spacing.
I'm telling you that when that thing goes, it's a different ball game. But you get the epidural and they stick you in there. You think you stick the epidural. Hey, don't move. Stick this needle this long in your back and get your back out there.
Your spine. Yeah.
And you're just sitting there like, all right, cool. And you're out there and you're running around, but not realizing, like, down the road when you're like for me, the whole left side of my hip and everything, they're trying to realign me. I'm like, dude, listen, I don't think there's nothing you could do with chiropractic. Like, there's nothing you could do.
Yeah.
It's either I got to have surgery or just keep slowing the process until it's to a point where you may have to have surgery or whatever. And then I always say with surgery, you're never the same.
Yeah, you're never the same. And you never know what's going to be the outcome either, right?
You're never the same. I tell you all the time, I had 2 shoulder surgeries and they're like, oh, how's your shoulder? It's not the same. When you're repairing something, it's just like a car. Like, it's not when it first gets,
it's not brand new.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not brand new. Just because it's a brand new part, it's not, because the thing, you think about it like this, when the body collectively, when you're born, right, it grows and matures and everything else. And at the same pace, like you said, everything is breaking down at the same time. When one thing gets repaired, all you did was I repaired that. That may be brand new, but everything around it is not the same.
Yeah.
So now you're asking everything around it to operate like that part is brand new. No,
yeah, that's a great analogy. The car is a great analogy of the human body.
Once you fix the suspension, the motor's still the same. The motor still got the same amount of miles on it.
Yeah.
The tires, you still got to replace it. Like, everything still, it's just gonna keep finding the next weakest point. That's all it's gonna do.
Yeah, and I wish even the league, the NFL, would be more open to some more preventative things, right? Because right now it's all cure. Like, let's get you out there with the shots. And what people don't tell you, there's cortisone shots, right? And there's been a bunch of controversy around this, toradol especially. The average, in an orthopedic surgery environment, the guys who do the surgery, they don't recommend doing toradol more than 3 to 4 times a year. Mm-hmm. And we know players were getting it every game, sometimes every day.
Let's see how many games I played, because I got that many.
Yeah,
shots or started giving it to you oral with the.
So an average person's only supposed to get 3 to 4 max a year, and then we have people who are getting it every day almost. And the long-term ramifications. I mean, it suppresses your immune system. It's slow. It accelerates cartilage breakdown, right? Which is like one of the biggest things. It's like, man, I'm already wearing down stuff being so active. Then you're telling me that it's going to break down faster as I get older? Like,
well, it's the business.
Yeah.
Because I got to get them back out there. Yeah. And then you got, I say this all the time, and even when they quote unquote, if you want to have a lockout or something, it's hard to have a lockout because you would need everybody on board.
Oh yeah. And then you have we know how that goes, right? Political. Then it gets very political.
Everybody's not on board. Yeah. Everybody can't be on board because the people who's going to be on board is the one who made all the money. Yeah. The ones on the bottom, I can't be on board. If I'm practice squad or whatever, I'm only getting paid for practice squad. I can't do it.
Over the last 2 years, I've had several friends who are actually actively playing now in the league who had injuries who reached out and they asked me about one specific drug, BPC 157. Have you heard of BPC 157?
I don't know that one.
No? So it's a peptide. It's a natural peptide. It's like peptides are naturally occurring hormones, if you want to call it, in your body, right? So it's a gastric peptide. It's a very small peptide, and it helps with healing. It helps with angiogenesis, which gets more blood cell formation in the area of injury. So it actually has been shown to work, works really well. It's on the WADA list, right? It's on the WADA list. So it's on the ban list for athletes. So they're always calling me and like, hey man, I'm out for like 2 months. I want to get back as soon as I can. Right?
Correct.
And that's all they care about is getting back as soon as can. But they're worried about is showing up in drug tests, right? Because it's on the ban list. So my take on it is like, I don't even know why it's on the ban list. Like if basically you're giving people toradol shots every day so they can get out there, right? Which is, we know is long-term not good for you.
Correct.
Why would you not let people who are injured? I'm not saying do it when you're active and get your performance enhanced or whatever. But if you're hurt, allow people to get back to where they were, at least using whatever they have access to. Like, has the league ever considered peptides or hormones or anything like that to help people recover?
It's kind of like one of those things where the lead is owned by 32 people, 32 owners, right? As long as it's making money, it don't matter, you know? Yeah. So a lot of times when you see it's because I even asked the question, and I don't know, is there more injuries now than before? Yeah. Because it's even crazier to be like, back in the day, you used to actually have real live tour days. They don't have those no more. You used to have like, tour days. You had to have off-season workouts where you had to be there at the facility rather than everybody going to go train at their own trainers and stuff. And, I always wondered, I have questions, I have theories. Sometimes I feel like, when people are away from the team and you're not really getting those real game time type of reps, or I would say this, if you're training with your team or with your strength staff at your facility, they know, because they're with you all season, they know how much you can handle and when to pull back. When you go train with that outside trainer, he's not there day to day to see. Yeah, what it's like to he's getting you ready, he's getting prepared, whatever, everything is great, but unless you see and what it's like to be each and every day, it was funny because I remember when I played, right? It was funny. I remember I got so mad at my coach. So he made me run a conditioning test twice. His reasoning, he brought me into the office. I was cussing the whole time. Yeah. But I did it and I passed it easily. He said, I made you do it because I knew you could do it.
Okay.
I said, well, why don't you make everybody, all the other veterans do it then? Why you made me do it?
Yeah.
He said, because I know how much their body can take. And I knew they couldn't do it. But I knew you could do it. And I was like, but why did you feel it? He goes, well, you're the starting safety. You start on punt team. You're the gunner. You're our starting kickoff returner. You're also starting on kickoff, but you're not the safety. You run down full speed between 5 and 3. And then you're also on punt return. The only time you're off the field is when the offense is out there. When special teams is out there, you're always out there and you start on defense.
Yeah.
I know how much you can run. I know how much they can run. But also when you're doing tests, when we're doing conditioning, you're the only one that's not tired. Because you prepared, because you know what you got to do. So I made you do it to show everybody else that what they need to start doing.
Okay.
So I say all that because I would never got that, in my opinion, if I'm just training with a group of guys that play with a bunch of different teams, but we either all play the same position, play different position, whatever. But I know he knows me because he's been there each and every day throughout the season or else. So he knew what my body could take. So
you're talking about continuity in knowing what the player can do. Yeah.
I think, when it's always like with your kids. You know what your kid can do and can't do.
Yeah.
Well, if you send them somebody else and you tell them to train them, whatever, and they pushing them or they giving them, you're like, well, he could do more than that.
So it's interesting. Let me ask you this. This is something that I've actually never asked anybody about, the relationship with players. You talked about the coach-player relationship, right?
Correct.
What is the relationship with the player in the league with their team doctor? Like, you have a team doctor, right? A team doctor, team nutrition, diet. Like, what does the healthcare ensemble of practitioners look like? To kind of walk us through that.
In my opinion, if you're the guy, it's a lot better.
You're the guy, as like,
if you're
Tom
the
Brady.
guy, you one of the top players on the team. It's a lot better. Okay. When you're not the guy, you might want to sit down, shut up, and go back out there.
Got it.
Because if not, they're gonna figure out a way to get you out of there.
Wow. Okay. So when you're the guy, it's fine. They're taking care of you.
You're a guy. You, in my opinion, you're taking care of. But when you're not the guy,
but when you're on the bottom of the roster.
But again, I tell you, it's the mindset. Because when you're the guy, I got to do everything I can to get you back out there. When you ain't the guy, just find somebody else to replace you.
Yeah, because if you sit down with them, they're like, "Oh man, he's got this thing."
The guy that's always injury prone and he don't play.
Man, that's such an interesting. This is why I love these conversations, because I would have never looked at it that
way. Think about
it.
The guy that's always hurt.
Yeah.
He ain't never on the field. He's never available. The best thing you can do is be available.
Yeah.
If you're not available, I'm going to find somebody that's available.
You don't want to show that you're
every Tuesday, they bring it in 20 plus people.
Yeah. 20 plus people?
20 plus people come on there with the little rolling suitcases. About to do a workout to see if they can make the team.
Every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday.
And it's a different group of guys?
Every Tuesday. You got guys, like I said, it can't never be a lockout because you got guys that want to play.
Yeah. So, like, man, it's...
You got guys listen, think about it. They just had the combine this past week. Everybody ain't going to get drafted.
Yeah.
But everybody want an opportunity.
Of course. You played your whole life to get to that point.
They got the combine. You're going to have pro days at every school. Everybody want an opportunity. If all 1,000 whatever people say they don't want to play, you got over 1 million people that'll sit there and replace them.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to be the same type of football? Maybe. Because they all going to be the same caliber of players.
Yeah. You're off by like a percentage.
Yeah.
Percentage, 2%.
You ain't going to have Saquon Barkley, but you ain't going to have Chris McCaffrey, but you're going to have something out there that's going to be decent to play. Because, again, people are following teams.
Yeah.
They're not following individual players.
And they make sure of that too, right? Because they don't want the owners don't want that kind of leverage.
Literally, you got to all think about it. You even in college football, everybody got to wear the same color cleats. Got to be unified. Mm-hmm. Football's the only sport where you pretty much make everybody look unified.
Yeah, basketball, and you can wear whatever you want.
Basketball, they out there with every color shoe on you want. Mm-hmm. The one leg, one this, whatever. One jersey might be short, one may be longer. You can color your hair. You can do whatever you want. You could be individuals in basketball.
Yeah.
You could do the same thing in baseball almost. You can still wear any type of cleat, any type of gloves.
Yeah.
You can have your shirt open, chains, whatever. Football is really the only sport where everybody is pretty much all unified.
So even at Nimbus and what we do, right, is all individualized therapy. I believe that every person's different.
They are.
Right? Every person's different from top to bottom, genetically, anything and everything about them. Unfortunately, everything in medicine today is done in a one-size-fits-all approach. I mean, you're a 30-year-old male, XYZ, this is what you fit, this is the med for you.
Correct.
Right? This is what you got to do. Not like, hey, you're this, and this is all the stuff that's different about you, and you should be on this. That's not what they do. Sounds like even in the NFL with the team doc, I mean, that's fascinating that you don't want to see the team doc. Unless you're the guy, you don't want to be seen by him because otherwise you're getting cut.
Correct.
Sounds like. So you can't, it doesn't foster a space for preventative care. That's another big thing. I'm all about, hey, dude, do what you can now to get your longevity going, right? Like you got to do everything possible to be as sharp and as fast as you are now, as long as you can, right?
Yeah.
And you do that with diet, exercise, all the things you talked about. So it's fascinating that the NFL, like, I don't think is ever going to be a space for preventative because, like, that's just not the way it works.
I think it's just like you said. It's the NFL. So being that it's a barbaric and a gladiator type sport, I think that's the thing of just how maybe in their minds. And I'm just how are you preventative? How are you preventative from that? I mean, you think about the combine. We go through all your medical records to see how beat up are you already.
Yeah.
Before we even, and I'm really curious about baseball or even basketball. Do they do the same things? I'm really curious on like, do they?
Yeah, that's something we got to look into actually.
Because I remember when I went through, I had probably three hours of MRIs done on previous injuries that I've had from.
They're looking at every soft tissue,
every single thing of like. I think they said, is it Caleb Downs or something? There was somebody just passed recently. They said like somebody's knee or something was like. It was already worn down or wherever, and it was like, well, what does that mean? And they're like, well, but it's just the fact of they're trying to figure out how much money they're going to invest in you, but they want to know like what they're getting,
what the return is. Yeah, it's a business. It's a business transaction.
Car, you'll get your used car. Let me see the Carfax on it.
Let me see the Carfax on it.
How many accidents has it been in?
Oh man! Speaking of cars, right? So. Every car needs an oil change. There's a certain upkeep you got to do with the cars.
Correct.
And that's kind of how hormones are. And that's how these peptides I just talked about are too, to keep those things, the fluids flowing.
Correct.
Where they need to be flowing. I don't think the league does any education on how to take care of your body or yourself after you're done. Like, what's the relationship like that? Like when you're done, right? Like, is there, and I know some of the inside ball game on the insurance stuff and vet stuff, all that kind of stuff, right? But besides that, like, do they do anything to help with the health, either it's mental or physical? And I know there's a lot.
So they do. So this is the thing. I think a lot of times people. This is what I will say.
Okay.
When people are playing, they have different things. They have different like speakers and things come to work from NFLPA and things. And they have people come. The problem is. Again, I said, you're in this mindset of like,
keep your job.
I'll keep my job, but people don't know when it's going to come. And you have people that's there trying to tell you, how to invest your money, how to, different things that we have that we can use, whatever, whether it's, therapy sessions, how you can go about doing so many different things. Continuing education, everything else. Because I would say this, the biggest thing is like they offer this, it's kind of funny. So they offer you in off season that you can do the thing like being a commentator. They do the thing of you can do intern coaching or do the business school. And in my opinion, it's like, oh, you make enough money, you can go start your own business. 2, you can do a commentator because all you do is know sports. 3, intern coaching because all you do is sports. But my thing is, it's funny because I say, think about all the people that go on to play college, graduate, maybe get a year or two National Football League, and then you try to apply for a regular job. And when you look at your resume, there's nothing on it.
Yeah.
All you can do is play sports.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, which I tell a lot of the younger generations, hey, listen, while you're playing college and whatever you think, when I say put all your eggs in one basket, just, maybe one egg, while you have that opportunity to meet a lot of people at that time. And that's why don't be respectful and understand those peers that you're around, whether it's high school or whether it's in college or whatever. Keep in mind, y'all are playing football, y'all playing sports, but some of the people in your class, they're preparing for real life.
Yeah.
And because they're preparing for real life, you might want to make those relationships and don't burn bridges and don't be a-hole. So while you out there shaking hands and kissing babies, you know, if you tell somebody, quote unquote, hey, listen, I take my number, and you don't want to, no, listen, you might want
that number.
Because you never know when you're going to maybe run into somebody or you may need some help or something down the road or whatever. So I tell people, hey, listen, while you're here playing college football, all those people you run into, I always made sure, even for myself, like when I could, like to sign autographs, I stayed to the last person.
Yeah.
I just always did that because I knew I couldn't play this game for long, but I knew the people were who made me who I was.
Yeah. So when Braylon was going through all these stages, right, as a, dad who's already played, you know what to look out for, what to do, conditioning, all that. Did you do anything supplement-wise or health-wise, meal-wise? What was his regimen like? Like, you had to, instill some of that in him.
So with him, I would say, he's always been a smaller frame guy or whatever. It's a lot like how I was. And I think he's the type that's probably going to later on in life, he's going to bulk up later. But my biggest thing with him was chocolate milk. I always had him drinking chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk, okay.
Chocolate milk, just get that fat or whatever in him. And then trying to just teach him nutrition. What kids these days, they want to eat the Takis and the
all the trash.
They're just all the trash.
All the processed food.
Nothing that is going to be any nutritious to you. So just trying to implement that into him and just try. But when he was younger, the biggest thing was just try to drink chocolate milk or whatever. Every time you work out, whatever. I used to just buy cases of just
protein. Just
put that. Just get it. Just do what you got to do, and then later on, as he got older, teenage vitamins and stuff to try to make sure he gets his vitamins. Because a lot of times, again, these kids are not. It's just not there. It's you want me to prepare for something in the future that I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. And so that's the biggest thing that we try to do, especially in my house, is just try to make sure that we make sure that they're eating right.
Eating clean.
And try to make sure we don't have anything in the house. I mean, here and there, we they got their desserts and stuff, but we just try to not have a bunch of
moderation
junk in the house.
is key, right?
Yeah, we just try not to have a bunch of junk in the house.
I always say, my wife, Shammy, she's a health nut.
Yeah.
And she's as strict as it comes, man.
Yeah.
She's gluten-free, can't eat anything carb. I mean, it's wild. So I always tell her, moderation is key.
Correct.
Life is about moderation.
Correct.
You can have your things here and there, but you got to have 90 or 80% of it this way, protein-rich, low carb, and fits your lifestyle, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Because everybody's even meal plans change based on what their lifestyle's like.
Correct.
Yours is going to be completely different than mine.
Correct.
Because you got 50 pounds of muscle on me and work out. So you're going to have way more calorie intake, higher protein than mine, which is completely different. But how did you maintain that when you were playing? Like when you were playing, what did you do?
I was terrible.
You're bad.
I was terrible. Listen, I would stop at McDonald's, get me a number 3, quarter pounder with cheese, your Burger King, the Whoppers. Fun fact, I used to drink a grape soda, Skittles, and bacon before every game.
For every game?
And I used to drink some type of Sunkist, whether it's grape or orange or whatever, before practice. People thought I was weird.
Okay. But that was your thing. That was your trigger to get. Yeah, it was like a ritual.
Some people used to take the energy drinks. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But it was something about I could do it. But see, I think it was contradicting. So you take the 2 bags of IV, but then you drink the soda. So it was I ain't gonna cramp up. I'm good.
Yeah.
So it was I ain't gonna cramp. I'm good. I got 2 bags of IV. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, it's also different because I say this all the time with younger kids. When you're younger and you're playing and working out all the time, your body is a machine.
Correct.
It is breaking down stuff so fast. Like whatever you put in, it's like just cranking it out, right? But when you get older,
Oh, tell me about it.
oh man, when we get to our age, like everything slows down.
When that scale, that scale go up quick.
Yeah.
It's hard for it to go back down, but it goes up quick.
Everything slows down, right? And it's tough. So I'm 38, right? And I noticed it starting to happen around 35, 36.
Yes.
35, 36 is when, oh man, what's going on? Why am I putting on this weight? Like, what's happening?
It's like you said, because it was like I got done playing and it was like, cool. The regiments and everything was still the same. You still work out, you can still run, you can still do a lot of things. But slowly the body's changing. Mm-hmm. And before you know that slow process, you're like, dude, what just happened? Like, the weight that you was able to move like you used to be able to doesn't move like you used to. The things that you could do. It was funny. Like when I was 32, 33 years old, I could still jump. You jump, you dunk, you can do everything. It's like, what do you want me to do? I could go do it.
Yeah.
And now you do it, you're like, wait, that muscle or that.
It ain't firing like it used to.
That ain't firing like it used to.
Yeah. So so the funny stat is, it's not funny, it's an actual stat. Your testosterone starts declining as a man from 35 years onwards, 1% every year, right? That's a normal person. What I've seen personally, having treated a lot of patients who are pro athletes and been in that high level of competition, is that when you're doing all that stuff and literally trying to stay alive on the field every day, you're in a flight or fight mode all the time.
Correct.
You're burning through your cortisol, your hormones, faster than possible. But you're also genetically different than the average human being too. Correct. So there's a trade-off there. But regardless, when you come out of it on the other end, after a long career, you're not going to be the superhuman, right?
Correct.
At like the 100%, because this just defies all science.
Yeah.
So there is a decline that happens. Either it's going to be super rapid or it's going to be along the normal lines of 1% of a year. So most athletes do seek help and they see a medical professional and get back up. Some of them don't. Like, are you doing anything special, or are you considering doing anything at this point in your lifetime?
I got to the point now, especially after turning 41. Like, I've got really serious on like just trying to with health, and I'm, it's about almost 3 months in, but I've noticed it's just crazy, like things that you notice, like the way I work out, I used to like try to lift a lot of heavy weight, right? Mm-hmm. And it was cool. But now, even my workout regimen, I went from doing my free weights and doing my own thing or whatever to now just go do classes. Take the thinking out of it and just do the class. And now I'm looking more like how much cardio am I burning? What am I doing? Trying to, get the heart to move at a certain pace or whatever. Trying to like push myself through those type of workouts or whatever. And it's funny because it's like we talk about, you say like the athlete or whatever. And if you ask me, and what do you feel? Do you feel 41? I'm like, I don't feel 41, but I feel like I'm like the average mid to early 30-year-old right now. Yeah. Like the way my body moves, whatever. Because when you're in the gym, you kind of see everybody just like, all right, you're looking around, you're like, all right, cool, I can still keep up with you. Yeah. But then you got the guy that's like 20 something, like, I can't do that no more. Yeah. Like you fresh. Like that's fresh. You're fresh. Like
your muscles are firing, your nerves.
Everything is working normal. Yeah. But then it's like, but then I also see people that's like my age, they're doing for, and they're like, oh, there. And I'm like, all right, cool. I don't want to get like that. At least I'm here. So I feel like, but like the biggest thing is my biggest thing is like trying to hit those classes. Yeah. Like at least 3 to 4 times a week, being routine, trying to keep the routine of working out, getting a good sweat in, getting a good workout in, being very cautious of that. And then also, more with cautious what I'm eating, That's been a big thing too.
Like, you gotta watch it, right?
Gotta watch it. But that's been the biggest thing of like, it's just fun now looking at menus. Like, okay, if I'm on the move or whatever, and it's like going to a fast, like, hey, getting a grilled chicken sandwich or whatever, rather than getting, the fried stuff, whatever. Like going to Chick-fil-A now, it's like, let me get 2 cups of the grilled nugget chicken.
That's
like,
exactly what I do.
So it's like just being more intentional on how I'm eating and what I'm doing. when I'm coaching, doing the 7-on-7, whatever, like I take like 2 protein shakes. So I'm just not out there just eating like
whatever
that's out there,
whatever,
or like snacking on chips or whatever. So I'm trying to be more intentional. Like instead of eating regular potato chips, I mean like apple chips. Like just more intentional on what I'm doing right now. And that's been like the biggest, like literally since my birth. Funny thing, he took a picture of me at the birthday, and then I looked at the scale. I was like 240, and now I'm back down to like 228. But it was like how quickly things change. Of me just like literally eating with intentions of like not doing things that I just took for granted. Like just thinking like the body was still the same, and it's not.
I think that's what it comes down to is you don't always need, being a pharmacist, we're always looking at medicine and medications and what you can do to augment or help supplement things that might be declining. But being intentional about the natural things you could do, like diet and exercise, goes a long way.
Correct.
There's still going to be decline that happens, but you're going to prolong that and hold it off as long as you can. So we talked about sports, we talked about family. We haven't covered your entrepreneurial journey.
Okay, gotcha. Cupcake thing.
The cupcake thing, right?
Yeah.
So, dude, when you, Brian, and Brian, the two Brians, so polar opposites, basically, Rack and
correct.
little Brian. How did you guys get into that business, right? And I can see why you've done well in that, because the way you're speaking about relationships, I mean, that's exactly. I mean, any top level CEO, any business person you talk to, they all have the same mentality.
So I would say with that, it started crazy. So Brian Arapaho was still playing. I literally just stopped, just retired, and I actually went back to school. So one day we were out eating whatever, and he tells the story great, but we were out eating whatever out in the Domain area, and we went by Sprinkles at the time. And he was like, hey, why don't we open a cupcake shop or whatever? And he knew about Gigi's because I was in Nashville. He was at Titans too at the time. And Gigi's was a lot like Tiff Treats here in Austin, but it's kind of funny because now Tiff Treats is out there in the Nashville area. But we just like Austin and Nashville, very similar. And what we did was they made a lot of calls and ended up getting the ball rolling. Chose now it's a strip mall, but at the time there was nothing there. So we found a new strip mall that they were building, and just pushed through it. And one of the real reasons was learn business. A lot of times what people do is, a lot of professional athletes, like you say, have the money or whatever, you get into business, but you don't really know. You got a friend or a family member or somebody that comes with you, or even, businessman or somebody like, you got the money, hey, trusting me to do this or whatever. But what we did was all three of us put the same amount of money in, and we was like, hey, we signed an agreement that only us three, couldn't have family, anybody else step in or whatnot. And so we just wanted to learn the whole business. And it's been a great experience, some ups, some downs or whatever. But what we learned with playing professional sports, and Brian Henson, what he's learned just being in the business world, it just us three together, putting our minds together, whatever, and having a successful business. I think we've been, we're around 8 years now.
Is it really 8 years?
It's been a while. So
wow.
2018.
Yeah.
It's matter of fact, just hit 8 years because right around Valentine's Day. So 8 years exact. But again, it was just learning business, but at the same time, just being all in. Now the TV stuff that came along with it.
Yeah. You guys had a TV show.
We had a Microsoft commercial. Had a TV show.
Big things, dude. Yeah, Microsoft commercials.
All that was just organic. It was just us being ourselves. That's how we are individually. You know that, us playing golf and stuff. But that's just us. And it just was kind of like a cool story, whatever. People ask why. And thinking of business, like what is something like we talked about earlier about technology and things. I mean, I don't think technology can take over making cupcakes and stuff like that.
Robots.
Yeah, but do they make it like,
Yeah. I mean, I do. I always think there's always a human element that is going to be needed.
So, we thought about it, even during like the whole COVID thing and everything else, the biggest thing was people were still celebrating birthdays. Yeah. Birthdays, holidays, and things of that nature. It was just one of those things that we just said, hey, no matter what, it's a necessity. Yeah. Even though it's really not, but it's still a necessity. Like people just, and then the thing was, we were right there by the Galleria. People go out to eat, whatever, late night, you want to treat. We also, it's one of the smart things, just looking at around us or whatever, they have the urban air that's right behind us. Yeah. So when you got kids, that's even better. Yeah. Right next door, children haircut. So you got kids going there too. So just everything. And this funny thing is we got F45 next to us. and people work out strictly so they can come get a cupcake. So it all works out perfectly. Literally works out perfectly.
It works out perfectly. It's funny. Yeah. So it's been a good journey. It sounds like.
It's been a really good journey. Like I said, a lot of ups and downs. Biggest thing, like you probably understand, is employees, find good people. But when you get a good team together, and you take care of your employees, whatever, that's the biggest thing, and that's the one thing. Again, we had to learn everything. You know.
Yeah, you had to learn everything on your own, which you did, and it's worked out for you, and that's what a lot of life comes down to. I think. Last week I was at this conference and I heard Stephen Bartlett speak. Mm-hmm. Stephen Bartlett, the guy, does this Diary of a CEO.
Correct.
Fantastic speaker. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was speaking for like an hour and a half, and I just was like, dude, you're speaking my language. I love everything you're saying. One of the coolest things he said was how most successful people are people who go out of their way. They're already good at something. Mm-hmm. They're going to be good at something. Like you can be good at sports. You can be good at pharmacy. But they're the people who go out of their way to learn another skill.
Correct.
And they're open to learning.
Correct.
And they're usually learning those skills, mastering it. They're not going to be the best at it. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be the best at it, but they know enough of these skills to string it together to run a business.
And that's the thing. I kind of say this. I tell my kids all the time, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes.
And the only way to be uncomfortable is you got to try and do things that you're not comfortable with.
Yep.
And that's going out to learn, whatever it is. But if you stay stagnant, you're not going nowhere. The only way to continue to get better and to get better in just anything, life, to grow, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and you got to be able to step outside that bubble and just, test it out. That's why I try to say with the kids and everything else, and just with myself or whatever, got to be comfortable with it.
But these kids, you have all this wisdom that you were on the Longhorn Network for a while.
Correct.
Speaking. So you have the opportunity to see a lot of these rookies who are coming, right? These kids who are getting into college, guys who are about to go out to the league. And I'm sure you have a platform at some point to talk to them, right? Mm-hmm. Like for anybody who's listening now, besides the one part about the relationships, what's the other big piece of advice you would give them? What would Michael Griff want to know if he was, what were you, like 19 when you got into the league?
I was 22.
22.
I was 21, about to be 22.
22. So when you got into the league, 22, what could you tell yourself? What would you want to give yourself?
The best advice, and this came from my mom, is that there's a difference between I want and I need. Mm. You want a lot of stuff, but what do you need? And I say that because these young kids, these rookies, whatever. I say kids because you're still a kid.
Yeah.
But just like that, overnight you become a millionaire, right? Or you have money, you have access, you have all this. Even right now, going into college route, NIL money, right? And you're getting this large lump sum of money, and a lot of this generation never had that type of money so quickly.
Yeah.
And how quickly you get it is how quickly you can spend it. Mm-hmm. But just base life off of what I want and what I need, because what I want, am I going to want that forever? Am I going to want that just right now? Am I going to want that for 2 days? Am I not going to want it anymore? There's a difference. But when I need it today. I need it tomorrow. I need it. So that's the biggest difference. Is it was prime example. Like when I got my money, instead of going to buy cars and all this other stuff, I drove dealer cars my whole time in the league. Mm-hmm. Why am I going to go buy a bunch of cars, going to lose value and everything else? I wanted it. Yeah. But
do I need it?
I don't need it.
Yeah. Let's do some rapid fire questions. We have this section where we do like rapid fire questions. I'm going to shoot them at you. You just, first thing that comes to your head, just say it, right? You played safety, so the best player that you ever played against?
Calvin Johnson,
Megatron. Okay. That's a good one. The hardest hitter you had to tackle?
Ooh, Mike Turner. You can go on YouTube and see that one.
Mike Turner? Okay.
Ran me smack over.
That's funny. What's the one injury that you still have that wakes you up?
The disc in my back.
The disc in your back.
Yeah.
Back is a big deal. What was more difficult, learning routes in a playbook or learning how to bake cupcakes and running a business?
Routes.
Yeah.
Like learning the playbook, because the playbook was like that thick.
Yeah.
And just
a lot of memorization.
Yeah. It's just remembering and then learning to, you learn to play, you learn to play, but then it's all based off the formation on how you align, and then it's based off what they run. Everything is, you're responding to everything. Everything's responsive.
Yeah.
It's all reaction.
Yeah, that's why we love.
So it's not
that's why
like,
we like racing.
It's like offense is, hey, listen, you run here, that, whatever, or if they give you this, you do this. But defense is whatever you do, I got to react to that.
There you go. You know, at Nimbus, I don't know, you probably haven't seen these ads and things yet out there, but one of our big sayings now here is find your groove.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we do a lot of metabolic health and weight loss and all these things. So instead of it, you know, these GLP-1 drugs aren't just about weight loss. And that's what we're seeing. It's all about metabolic health. We talked about the machine that's starting to slow down.
Correct.
Right? The metabolism starting to slow down. So these drugs are actually helping you maintain that metabolism, get a bit more efficient. It's like putting like a high quality engine oil in your engine, opposed to like a low quality, low caliber one. So finding your groove is important, and that's what we're all about. What is a good spot in Austin you like to find your groove?
I would have to say,
I know you dancer, bro. I've seen you dance.
You seen me dance, but I would have to say, man, it's honestly, if you want to know, I found my groove. Honestly, it's. I would have to say at the track.
At the track, yeah.
I would have to say at the track. It's just. And another thing I really enjoy is just watching racing.
Yeah.
Because it's each individual person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what machine he has under him. It's each individual person that it all falls on that person.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially when you watch MotoGP, the biggest thing is those are the 22 top riders in the world.
Yeah.
It's only 22. There's no replacements. You see when they put the replacements out there, they know there's no way they're not supposed to be out there.
Yeah, it's phenomenal what those guys can do.
It's amazing. And then it's also amazing just to watch how much they have to train.
Oh, yeah. Mike, that was a fun time. I really enjoyed our talk. We covered everything from business, family, the NFL, and what happens behind the curtains at the NFL, right?
Correct.
That was amazing. Thanks for coming on today.
Oh, appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people are going to want to get a hold of you. So tell them how they can reach you.
Oh, if they want to reach me, you know, the easy thing is just all social media is Mike Griff 33, MikeGriff 33.
33, the number. Yeah.
People ask how to get the number. It was just given to me.
But it's a cool number.
It's a cool number. It was just given to me. There wasn't nothing special about it. But that's how to get hold of me.
All
or
right,
they just contact you. You know how to get hold of me too.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.